All right, here we are with our secondary racking we're going to do. This is our cider number 2, the one we fermented with the Chablis yeast. You'll remember we pitched the yeast in November, and a month or so later we transferred from our primary fermenter, the stainless keg we had it in, into this glass carboy. Now it's been here a couple of months and we're ready to rack it again off the sediment into another identical carboy. Now you want to actually rack because of course you want to give chance for the yeast to settle to the bottom and for the product to start to clarify, and each time you rack it you transfer it off that sediment, and the point is that well, not only does it clarify, but also it creates a more stable product. So you're getting it off things like yeast and protein that settles down that could potentially be food for other organisms if it was to get infected or something like that. So it's about stability and it's about clearing the product. So I'm going to put this block in readiness for our racking. I want to be really gentle not to stir the yeast. Accidents happen. All right, so the yeast is pretty stuck down on the bottom of the carboy. That's nice to see. Even when I tilted it up, it didn't really look like it stirred up much, so it's going to give us a good racking. We're going to be able to separate it pretty nicely. So I got our siphon. It's got sanitizer in it right now, and I'm just going to purge the sanitizer out with some water. And at the same time, that water that's in there is what we're going to use to start our siphon. And that should have purged all the sanitizer, and plug the end. This whole tube, the racking arm, the tube, everything is full of water. So I'm ready to start the racking now. And there's the water, and there's the cider. I'm going to take a little sample because we're going to taste it. Not much. That's nice. Carboy's all ready, sanitized, ready to go. And there we go. All right, so our secondary carboy was a little bit too low. You noticed when I started the racking, so it was kind of splashing the cider a little bit. The tube was sort of halfway. You don't really want that. You want it to be gentle for one thing and not splash. And ideally, the tube is kind of running against the side or just under the surface, something like that, because you want to minimize oxidation. You don't want to oxidize the product. It leads to lots of staling and a product that doesn't potentially last as long. All right, so this is a little bit of our cider from last year we're going to use to top this carboy up. The deal is that you need to kind of minimize the surface area, but between the air cider interface, I guess you can call it. So the top of the carboy kind of obviously comes right up the neck, and you want to bring the cider right up that neck so you've just got a small surface area in contact with the air. You don't want a big space like we see here. That's always the way it is. When you're racking from one carboy to another, you always need a little bit of whatever you're making from somewhere to take up the volume you lost, the stuff that you racked off in the old carboy. That is pretty good. So I'm just going to go for our airlock. I have a bucket of sanitizer here with all the things I need sitting in it. There's all the various parts. Put it together. It's pretty good. A little bit of sanitizer in there. Perfect. Just give it a little dip. And that is ready to go in. Done. So we're going to keep this carboy at, try and keep it a little bit cool, like 18 Celsius kind of thing. And it'll sit in here, I'd say, for at least 3 months. It's not really critical that we rack it again really soon, like it is so much with some of the earlier rackings, because there isn't going to be much yeast on the bottom at all, dying and throwing off, you know, nasty flavors, which is one another reason that you often rack. So yeah, I'd say 3 months, or possibly a little bit longer if we need to. All right, let's taste our sample, see how that cider is doing. That's lovely. It's going to be good. What I notice is there's a little bit of sugar still in there. There's a little bit of sweetness. Mostly it's kind of dried out. The yeast has pretty much done its job and it's fermented down, but there's a little residual, and that may still be fermented out, probably will be, and the product will become a little bit drier still. Hopefully we end up with a little bit. It's nice to have a little residual sweetness as well, but that'll be gone. Also, right now I get there's a little bit of sulfur there, and that's not unusual either. The yeast, it's a totally young product. The yeast in fermentation produces, can produce hydrogen sulfide, H2S, and it's normal that there would be some there, and that will go away with age. A couple of months from now, it won't be there at all.